is the biggest reason that the Cowboys lost?
It's Jason Garrett's fault. Because for the last 4 years, I've been up here at this desk, and for the perpetuity, 8-8. That was somebody dubbed it. Call that man Jason 8-8 Garrett. Mm-hmm. Why is this team unprepared? Why is his team fall behind? It's Jason Garrett's fault. Well, Jason Garrett is not there, and guess what? They fall behind by larger numbers now than they ever did when Jason Garrett. Mm-hmm. This game, down by 27 heading to the fourth quarter. Yep. Down by 15 or 16 against Seattle, down by 19 to the Falcons. Yep. Again, your guy, this is a classic example of empty calories, because let me tell you what your guy did when the score was tied 14-14. 14-14, the score was tied. Dak Prescott went 8 of 15, 53 yards. He lost the fumble. 5 drives, 0 points, 5 total first downs. But everybody's talking about, man, did you see Dak, what Dak did through for 500? Meaningless. You're down 27 to start the fourth. They ain't playing hard. And if the Browns could catch, they'd have hung 70 on them. If they could just catch the football. Because I got a couple of things I want to show you. I don't even really like showing copy skill, but sometimes to get my point across, I will ask them, video to pull some copy. DJ, drop a track for me right quick. Let me talk over this thing. Now, this is Dak right here. The most accurate guy right here. That's a pick.
Agreed.
Okay, what about this?
I saw 4 of those.
Right here. That's a pick.
There's number 2. Yep. This should have been picked.
What?
This is an easy pick. That's an easy one.
Even the touchdown
There's a 4th one of those, too. You didn't go farther.
Denzel Ward got the 4th one. Yeah. Skip. Even the touchdown to Amari Cooper. If the safety doesn't take a horrible angle, that's a pick. He took a terrible angle.
Yep.
And so this is what we're seeing when the game is nip and tuck. Right there to be had for the Cowboys to gain some separation. Yep. Nothing happens. But the moment the game gets out of hand and the defense start backing off, it's like, okay, we don't want to give you anything cheap or deep. Okay, here goes Dak. Bing, 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 bing. But Skip, where was that when the score was 14-14? He had 5 total drives. He was 8 of 15, 53 yards. He lost a fumble, 5 total first downs in those drives. And I told you what was going to happen. I said, they're going to run wild over you guys. I said, as long as you don't ask Baker Mayfield to win this ball game, they did this without Chubby. Just a matter that they had Chubb Rock toting it.
Well, they had him for a while.
And he left.
Oh, so he ran wild. He had 7.2 yards per carry before he got hurt.
He'd have had more than that had he stayed in there.
Yep. You ever heard of Dearness Johnson?
I heard of him yesterday.
Yeah, because he had 90. He led them with 95 yards rushing yesterday.
And then Odell. First of all, Skip, if Baker Mayfield was as accurate as you told me that he was, he had Odell wide open for a touchdown that would have blown the game open. He throws the ball out of bounds.
Then here we go. I'm about to blow the roof off the Fox studios about my Dallas Cowboys that are not mine anymore because I am D-O-N-E done. I told you last week I would give them one last hurrah. Why did I propose the bet with you? Because I wanted to put all of my faith, all of my emotions right out in the middle of the table and say, okay, gentlemen, one last shot at respectability. One last shot at legitimacy. If you are the team I thought you were back in August, a team that I thought could slowly but surely become at least a dark horse contender to win the NFC and get to the Super Bowl, a clear-cut division winner in the NFC least, then you would beat the Browns by 10 or more points yesterday in your own stadium as a 5.5-point favorite. And what happened? They stunk it up worse than they've ever stunk up a home game in my eyes. It was a disaster from start to finish. It was everything that's wrong with this year's Dallas Cowboys because they are all icing and no cake because they have no defense. It's not only the worst defense in the NFL right now, it's the worst defense in team history unless you want to go back to that expansion year in 1960 when they were 0-11-1. I could argue that defense was a little worse than this one, but not much worse because this is all-time humiliating. This is throw up in your mouth, humiliating. This was hard for me to watch, hard for me to stomach yesterday, and I have seen enough of it. And I was happy last night that your Eagles actually looked respectable. I thought on defense last night, Philly looked pretty good.
Yeah.
They went into San Francisco against a Nick Mullins who'd thrown for 346 at Giants, for what it's worth, at Giants, and you were raving about, did you see what Kyle Shanahan did with another quarterback?
Yep.
And I thought, well, surely he can throw for 250 or 300 against the sorry Eagles, and he could not. He threw for barely 200, and he turned it over 3 times.
Turnovers what killed him.
Just killed him, and all of a sudden I sat back and said, you know what? I'm relieved because the Eagles right now are a little better even than the Cowboys are, which is hard for me to spit out, but it's the truth. They're a little better, and they deserve to be better, and they deserve to be in first place because I told you last week I don't want my team to back into an NFC crown. It would be fraudulent. It would be counterfeit. I don't want a default division championship. What happened yesterday was they actually got off to a decent start, which I hope they would just seize control. But what happened first? The Browns used a trick play to score the 7-0 touchdown. And I immediately tweeted, Browns, you don't get it. You don't need to run a trick play. Just let Baker throw it to Odell because they can't stop Odell. So why would you use a reverse pass? Why would you let Jarvis sort of leap into it like it was a javelin throw?
He put it on the money, too, though.
Hey, he threw it with all of his body and soul is into that throw, and he whipped it as hard as he could, and it hit him right in the hands. It was beautiful.
It was.
And the point was, I sat back and said, you're rubbing it in, man, because we don't deserve a trick play. You can score it any way you want to score it. You can run it. You can let Baker throw it. You don't need to resort to a trick play. But then what happened right away? What happened to my offense? Here comes my offense, and it goes 5 plays, 89 yards, and CD catches his first touchdown pass from 43, 7-7. Right. Then guess what? Voila. It happened one time yesterday. It actually happened 3, but they made Baker punt. And then what happened? Here we come back again, and we go 9 plays, 84 yards. 9 plays, 84 yards. And the one you talked about, that laser right between the 2 DBs, it probably should have been at least knocked down.
Or Amari should have got knocked out.
Okay. And Amari caught it and was gone because there's nobody left. And that was 4th and 2. And all of a sudden it's 14-7. So don't tell me that they laid an egg from the start because they're up 14-7. Mm-hmm. And then what happens? You detailed it. The next time they have the football, they wait a second. Dak turns it over. He gets strip sacked by Myles Garrett. Not from the blind side, from the eye side. Dak, you can't get strip sacked from the eye side. You know he's over there. You see where 95 lines up. He's obviously very hard to block. And if he's on Terrence Steele, who is an undrafted rookie out of Texas Tech, what do you think's going to happen? Isn't he going to fly across?
And that's why they put him on that side, Skip, because they don't want him against Tyron Smith. So they want him against your weak tackle.
And they were flip-flopping him? Okay, I got it. So, Dak, you just got to watch it and get rid of it or just duck and cover. If he gets you, live to tell about another play. But he gets strip sacked and gives them a short field. It's 34 yards, 4 plays, and all of a sudden it's 21-14. And then here comes Zeke, and he fumbles and gives them a short field. He gave him 51 yards, and it takes him 6 plays, and all of a sudden it's 28-14. So that brings me to the turnovers. My team is dead last in turnover ratio. What usually happens to the team that's dead last? It usually gets the first pick in the draft. Yep. My team easily could be 0-4. You can argue it should be 0-4 because of the miraculous recovery of the onside kick. They didn't really recover it. Atlanta just didn't recover it, right?
I agree.
Okay, so they could be 0-4. And this defense, Mike Nolan's defense, and I know Mike, you know him a little bit. Okay, he's a really good guy. I loved his. I knew his father very well. He used to play golf with his father, Dick Nolan. He used to coach the 49ers and then was a Cowboy assistant for a long time under Tom Landry. But the point is, Mike Nolan hasn't been a defensive coordinator since he was with the Falcons back in 2012 to 2014. Do you realize what those Falcon defenses finished?
Yeah, I do.
24th, 27th, and 32nd in dead last. Those were his last 3 coordinator finishes. Why did he get this job? Because once upon a time, he gave Mike McCarthy a job when he was the head coach in San Francisco and gave him a big jump start in the not that he hadn't already been, he was on the New Orleans staff,
but he gave him
an opportunity to be a coordinator. And it was a huge deal, so he repaid. It's like cronyism, okay?
Yep.
I don't see any results through 4 games. This is the all-time Dallas defensive humiliation. This is a team that used to have doomsday. Shannon, do you remember? It was just 2 years ago, 2 playoffs ago, that Russell Wilson and company came to Jerry World with the leading rushing attack in pro football. And that day, they got 73 yards rushing. So under Rod Marinelli, I was missing Rod Marinelli last night. I occasionally saw just sparks and flashes of, that's pretty good, right?
Yep.
And under Mike Nolan, I see deadhead. I see lost. I see effortless. I see. Okay, so in the end, what happens? As usual, I've seen this movie 4 times this year. Desperate Dak takes over. When is he at his greatest? When they are hopelessly behind.
Correct.
Well, that's kind of scary to me. You're hopelessly behind and you're at your best.
There's no expectations because if you lose, Skip, if you're down with 40 seconds left in the 30, you're down by 27, nobody's expecting you to come back.
Okay, so here he comes. And he puts on a show in the fourth quarter because that was just spectacular. He threw for what was 254 in the fourth quarter and 3 touchdowns. And all of a sudden, I look up and they're down 3. And then what happens? This is bad team football. For some reason, the new kicker, Greg the Leg, he decides to try to trick them again. They'd almost tricked him with a squib kick before. Right. And all you need to do is kick it deep.
Right.
Kick up. You got 3:42 left.
Yes.
See if the defense can come up with a play or 2.
Because you had timeouts. You had 1, I think.
You do.
So, I would agree with you. I was thinking they were going to kick it deep.
Okay, so he tries another weird squib, and they just catch it. Excuse me. And if they catch it, you're in trouble because they're going to get the ball at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, he catch it with a running start.
Okay, so now it's 1st and 10, and they call another trick play. They call a reverse to Odell. And Aldon Smith, who I've raved about, was a no-show yesterday. He had 2 total tackles, no sacks, no pressures. He did you see 58 at all?
No, Skip. Can we run this back? Now, this is the Cowboys.
Okay.
Now, I want you to tell me, Skip.
Okay, I'm doing this.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what I saw on this play. Aldon Smith finally stays home and makes a good play.
Right, he makes him bubble.
He makes him bend it way back.
Yes.
Excuse me, he bends it back 20 yards.
Yes.
What usually happens when a reverse gets bent back 20 yards?
Oh, you got the pursuit.
The whole defense is waiting for you.
Yes.
You got time to rally.
Yes.
And you got 8 guys waiting to tackle you.
Yes.
Okay, I saw 5 guys, and I saw nobody really try until Jalen Smith dragged him down, and that was like a horse collar tackle.
But here's the thing, though. Look at Jalen Smith in the beginning. Look at Jalen Smith.
Okay.
You tell me Jalen Smith was running at the beginning?
No.
Nope. Because if he was running at the beginning, he'd have got him right to cut him off the pass.
Thank you. I agree. That was give up. That was heartless. That was effortless. That was completely unacceptable. I wanted all of them cut the next day just for that play because you got back in the game. And obviously, that just rips your heart out.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So this is why this is a bad football team. This is a team with a prolific, an explosive offense.
Yes.
That is self-destructive because, to your point, I thought Dak would have had 4 more interceptions yesterday if they just caught the ball. So it's self-destructive, and it's backed up by the worst defense in the National Football League. So in the end, it's like, this is what Jerry asked for. He likes sizzle. He doesn't want the steak. He wants the sizzle. He doesn't want the cake. He wants the icing because icing sells. So Jerry has kind of what he always dreamed of having. He got
box office offense.
He's got box office because they are number 1 in passing, number 1 in total yards, and wait a second, they're only 4th in scoring because that's not good enough.
Right.
But the point is, they throw it all over the lot. It's fun to watch if you're not a Cowboy fan.
Right.
If you're just a casual fan, you say, wow, this is interesting to me. And they tend to fight back and get back in games that keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yes.
Okay? But then they lose, and they could be 0-4.
They really should be.
Okay? So in the end, it's like You know the book, I read the book Dante's Inferno when I was in high school. Okay, so the idea of Dante's Inferno is that the punishment in the afterworld fits the crime. So if you're a bank robber in your earthly life,
Right.
then your bank keeps getting robbed when you're stuck in hell, okay?
Right.
So this is like Jerry's in Dante's Inferno right now because this is kind of what he always dreamed of having in the wrong way,
Yeah.
right? Because they are box office and they lose, really.
I thought the Cowboys defense, I was concerned, and I voiced my concerns. But, Skip, I didn't think it would be this bad. Is that because here's what happens. When you expect someone else to make the play, that means you loaf. If you look at that play that Alden Smith made Odell bubble,
Yep.
guys are loafing to the play.
They're
Somebody else
loafing.
is going to make the play.
I
And then
agree.
if you, Skip, I'm watching the game, and then you get guys, if you just play your responsibility,
Yep.
Skip, if you got outside leverage, don't try to jump inside, because what happens? The guy starts inside, and then he bounces, and where you were supposed to have been, now he gets 15, 16 yards on a run. This is bad football.
Okay.
And Skip, you got what you got. There's nobody, Randy White and Bob Lilly and Ed Too Tall, ain't nobody walking through that door.
Nope.
This is what you got. Your
Yep.
secondary is really not that good. And if you can't, Odell and Jarvis and them could have had like 200 yards apiece, but because they couldn't stop the run, they just turned around and handed, like you said, Ernest, I don't even know. I'm like, who is this? Where you come from?
Ernest Johnson.
I'm like, they just signed a kid. They just playing with the Cowboys. They just say, hey, you like you a good running back. Come on and run.
Because Kareem's got a groin, like he was hobbled.
And Kareem, he was hobbled and got 71 yards.
Okay. I'm going to say it one more time. I've said this until I'm cowboy blue in the face. I would have signed Earl Thomas before the season started. I know about all the baggage. You know about all the issues that blew him up in Seattle and Baltimore. I get all that. He's just so much better than anybody they have in their secondary. He's a made man. He's won championships. He's been what is it, like a 6 or 7 time Pro Bowler?
Yeah, he went 7.
And he made his 7th last year in Baltimore. Could be on reputation, but at least he's got some authority to him when he walks in the door.
But it's being reported that the players in Houston got to Bill O'Brien says, we don't want him in our locker room.
I do not doubt that report. I get it.
I've never heard that, though, before.
Okay, it's possible some of the Cowboys said, no, we don't want him in our locker room. I just want him in my secondary because it's the worst I've ever seen. And at least he could have made a play or two that might have changed the Seattle game. He might have made a play or two that would have changed yesterday's game because they have nobody to make plays. Do you realize they have now 9 giveaways? They have only 2 takeaways.
Yeah.
Well, that's so bad. You've played 4 games. You can't take the ball away. No. If you're bad and you can at least occasionally cause a turnover.
And normally bad defenses can't take the ball away.
Right.
Skip. That's one of the reasons why you're bad is because you can't turn the team over. You can't get pick sixes, or just forget pick sixes, Skip.
Yep.
You just want a turnover at this point.
You got it. And my final insult to injury came when LeBron James, your man, was tweeting. And again, he's a Cowboy fan, and now he's tweeting yesterday for Odell after the big 50-yard run. OBJ with lots of exclamation points. Bro, let's go. #Browns. You're a Cowboy fan.
Skip.
We have proof. Have you seen him? He's worn cowboy garb to Browns games.
Can he not?
That's him at a Cowboys at Browns game.
Can I ask you?
Way to go, LeBron. I love it.
Hold on, but what about this, Skip? Odell is his friend.
Yeah. Look.
I mean, he want his friend.
There he is with your guy.
Yeah, Skip. He want his friend to do well. I mean,
Look, he's got a Jason Witten jersey on. You believe in this? That's your guy. He's a Jason Witten fan.
Jason Witten's no longer there, so what, he's supposed to be a Vegas Raiders fan?
No, this is back in the past. And again, the Cowboys would play at Browns, and he would go down on the field and hang out with the Cowboys. Yeah. Well, don't be tweeting about #Browns.
Talk about.
I don't need that.
You just gave up. You just spent at your opening salvo. You said you were done with the Cowboys. Did you not just say that?
He jumped bandwagons, though.
You just jumped too.
Okay, well, I didn't jump on somebody else's bandwagon. I'm not suddenly an Eagles fan.
You'll be back though. Something to tell me. Who y'all got this week?
The Giants.
Look how you said that. Yeah. The Giants. You know they terrible.
They are terrible, but the Eagles are right now better than Dallas.
So are you.
Yeah.
Hold on. Talk about, Skip. You talk about, the Giants are terrible. What you think teams say about y'all?
I told you we're terrible. Yeah. Yep. We're done.
What did
We
you
in
say
first
about the
place,
Eagles?
baby. Oh, walk into them.
Giving
What are
compliments
you?
to the Eagles
1,
around
2,
here?
and 1?
We better more than what you guys are.
Oh, they're at the
Whatever
top
you
of things
are,
right now.
we're better than that.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.